young women of color starting their careers and trying to forge their path. And so we asked the question, how do you create a new world order when you have all of the power and when you have none of it?
Hey, it's Kristen, and today I am so excited to share with you the conversation I had with Liz Kruger and Craig Shapiro, the showrunners of Charmed. They open up about season 3, and you definitely don't want to miss it. Charmed season 2 really shook things up and kind of took the sisters out of their element. What could you tell us about Macy and Maggie and Mel and the new direction for season 3?
Well, the first thing is we didn't really get to finish season 2. So we have 3 episodes that are essentially left from season 2 that will complete the arc of that season.
We had to finish the sort of Julian, Viv faction story that was literally left hanging because we, like everybody else, shut down in the middle of an episode in March. And so we got a chance to finish those 3 episodes. Then we go really technically into what we think of as season 3.
Because season 2 was sort of moved us heavily back into sort of the genre world of things, and they were deep in the magical world, we decided to sort of move them back into pursuing things they are interested in the real world, like pursuing their passion. You know, Maggie in school and Mel in teaching and Macy in science world. And so our goal was to kind of explore the world that we're living in today through their worlds in Charmed, but on a metaphorical level, if you will, because we're not going to be dealing with COVID literally in the show, but we are dealing with it in a metaphorical way, which you will get to see. In addition, we went into the writer's room June 1st, and we all collectively were really grappling with the brutal murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and too many other Black Americans, you know, to even count, and asked ourselves really difficult questions as a writer's room. You know, how do we confront and dismantle systemic racism in our institutions? And we just felt that Charmed could tackle these questions, but in the way that Charmed does, which is, you know, asking the question of how do you create a new world order? Because we were all very invested in this question, we tackle this question not just in the magical world, but in the real world. Because we realize that there's an irony where the Charmed ones are the most powerful in the magical world, and in some ways they're the least powerful in the real world, which is to say they're young women of color starting their careers and trying to forge their path. And so we asked the question, how do you create a new world order when you have all of the power and when you have none of it? How do you grab power for yourself, and how do you empower yourself in a world that sometimes dismisses you? So these are the questions. I mean, we went deep, you know, and I think that the cast and the writers, like in a partnership, we really tried to tackle some interesting issues this year.
Earlier on in the seasons, you know, we had found out that Maggie's character is half Black and so is Macy's character. Were they able to share any kind of insight on their perspective going into these topics for this season?
Very much so. We brought all of the actors into the writer's room. We had really serious conversations about the world and their interactions in the world, and we incorporated their life experience into the storytelling.
Something else I'm really excited about, I know it was recently reported that J.J. Hawkins is joining the cast as a transgender male college student. I would love to know a little bit more about what it's like adding more inclusion into this story, and also just what other new characters we might see come into play.
In terms of inclusion, it's been very exciting to be able to bring new characters in meaningful ways. And we also do have, I guess I can tease that we do have a family member that we're going to meet, a new character that I will not spoil it for you, but it will be surprising and exciting and fun.
I loved meeting Ray last season. He was one of my favorite characters, so I'm so excited to see what other family members we're going to get to meet.
Ray was a huge success. We love the actor and we love the character, and each of the actresses just found a terrific relationship with him, and so we just couldn't wait to write those scenes. It was always fun to write for them because everything just came to life when they would get on screen with their dad.
Definitely. I love that family aspect. Now, in the last season, we were dealing with the faction, we were dealing with the witch war. Are you guys continuing that, or are now we kind of diving into a whole new set of themes?
We do close out some stories in the way you would have, you know, seen us do in season 2 if it had all played out. But new ones are launched from those stories. So that's what I can tell you. Yeah. Okay. There will be some things that are closed out, explained, and, you know, wrapped up in a nice way, but also will
It leads to the events of season 3.
Yes.
Last season also, we're dealing with not having powers, developing new powers. Will we be exploring more magic in this new season and maybe even some more supernatural creatures?
Yes.
Yeah, there's definitely yes to supernatural creatures.
Yes, and powers, yes, in interesting ways. They have their powers back now, and that's a given.
A plot point, I guess, that a lot of people are very curious about is if certain maybe items might come back into play, like a Book of Shadows. I don't know if there might be anything you can tease about that.
Let's see. I can tease that there is a piece of story that involves it.
Book of Shadows.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the answer is yes. Yeah. There is a storyline that does deal with it.
There is a storyline that deals with the fact that it was destroyed.
That's right.
Awesome. I love the mystery. Now, a big theme that we've been hearing about in the trailers and things is, the death of all magic, the death of Sisterhood. Is there anything you can share related to that and what that could ultimately mean?
I can share with you that we are going to probe deeply into the destruction of the Sisterhood. And that is definitely something that those episodes, we teed it up in season 2, and now we need to really, I think, answer all the questions there.
The first 3 episodes of the season, which, as I said, are the last 3 episodes of season 2,
tackle that.
That really go into that heavily. That's what they're all about.
I think the audience just has to remember that those first 3 episodes really are a continuation of last season, because it's a little confusing if you really haven't been watching and you were to just pop in, you'd be like, I don't understand, how is this the first episode of a season? But it's really because it's a continuation. And to that end, we tried to do something unusual. We did a recap that is more of a saga cell in episode 1 of the season, so that people would be reminded of kind of where we left off.
That's very interesting. So would you say like the first 3 episodes are going to feel more like kind of like their own little mini movie in a way, and then kind of jumpstart into something new in
yes,
the 4th episode?
I would say that actually.
Yeah,
yes.
I think that's actually a good way of putting it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The end of this past season, there's a lot going on with Harry and Macy's relationship. What can you kind of tease about kind of the romances and what's coming up for season 3?
They are going to explore their new relationship in the way that all new couples do. No relationship is a straight line. There's no such thing as happily ever after. These are 2 people that have many obstacles that they will have to, I guess, surmount. Overcome, yeah. They're like all couples. They're going to have to grapple with a lot of things that come their way.
Right, and they have more things thrown at them than normal couples because there's just all the things they have to deal with in the magical world.
Not to mention, he's a white lighter, and it's kind of forbidden romance.
Right.
Oh, yes.
But rules were made to be broken, damn it.
Going into this season, what were some of your favorite or even some of the hardest moments to film?
I can tease a few things. One is that we'll get to see Sarah's character, Maggie, explore dance on screen, and that is exciting. Trying to tap into, all Sarah's talents, because she is, so multi-talented. There's a lot of very deep emotional stories that we're tapping into that I don't want to tell you about because I don't want to spoil anything, but they're very personal stories to the characters, and they're very real world stories. And I think that particularly for our audience in their 20s, that a lot of the stories are going to resonate. What it's like to be that age and to try to pursue your dreams when, the institutions sometimes stand in your way. It's sort of just interesting to watch them fight against the powers that be. I don't know if you saw that there's new key art that was released on the writer's account, but the phrase is the power of 3 against the powers that be. And we're going to see a lot of that this season, sort of fighting the establishment, I would say, status quo.
On the other side of the difficult scenes to shoot are all actors in this era have to grapple with the fact that a lot of stuff is blue screen and visual effects. And so you're fighting a monster that's not there, or, we had an episode last year where they were being chased by a flock of bees, and, you're just like, okay, the bees are over there. Okay, the bees are over there. Duck, here come the bees. That is an extremely challenging thing for all actors to
I was going to say that one scene that sticks out that is just hilarious is we were watching a cut, and we're going through it, and we get to the part where they're being chased by a monster, and it's a man essentially in what looks like a green Teletubby suit chasing them, because we haven't put in the visual effects yet. And so there are those times where you just go, these actors are fantastic, because they make you feel like they are afraid for their life, and it's just a man in a Teletubby suit running after them on the set. But I think the most difficult thing has been, the COVID regulations and, how to protect your actors and your crew. It's required us to be inventive with our storytelling to sort of protect our actors. Soon enough, you'll see what we have come up with to protect them. It's a really interesting storyline that I think taps into sort of what we're all living through today.
The nature of the fact that what we're living through is we can't be near or hug our loved ones or kiss our loved ones, that kind of thing. It's challenging.
Now I'm curious, you're 3 seasons in. What's your take on references to the original show? Is it necessary? Is it something that just kind of happens, or is it something you don't even think about and you're just kind of doing your own thing at this point?
Well, it's so funny because there's so much discussion, I guess, of this, with the fans. You look at the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. That is, it is based on the Sabrina, TV show, but it has nothing to do with that show. We've always felt like this show is its own thing. It's based on and it adores its sort of its origin story, but it has to live and breathe on its own because it's new characters, it's a new time and place, and so I think that it just has to live and breathe on its own.
Is there anything else that you guys can share about this upcoming season?
Only just that we're really excited about it. We are, we're just so honored to be able to write for these wonderful actors and to be able to put material out in the world that we're all very proud of. Especially during these really challenging times, it's been a really lovely respite to be able to pour our energy into doing something positive.
Well, I'm very excited. I can't wait. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, and good luck with everything.
Thank you. You too. Stay safe. If you like this one, you can check out more of my Charmed coverage right over here, and I will catch you in my next video. See ya.